Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So I've just spent the last 3 hours getting ready for the week ahead. But what I thought was going to take me about 15 minutes has taken 3 hours. I was like, alright, I'll get my food ready for tomorrow. I'm going to take some food. Then I was like, fuck, I have to defrost it. I have to take it out of the freezer and defrost it. And I need dinner tonight as well. Like, what am I going to eat tonight? So I got to take that out. Got to let that thaw. So I'm like, all right, I'll organize my clothes because I want to go to jiu-jitsu after work. And then I look for my clothes and there's no clean clothes. And who the fuck normally does this? Usually it's just sitting there ready. What's going on? And I look for some of my work shirts and they're all in the laundry basket. I'm like, fuck, do I have to do this? And I was left with no fucking choice. I had to do my own washing. So fucking out I dragged the laundry basket to the washing machine, and it wasn't just one load, it was 2 full fucking loads. I'm like, this is outrageous. Occasionally I'll put the washing in the washing machine. That's fine. But hanging it out, that's not a man's job. That's a lady's job. You go outside, you have a chat to the neighbor, you talk about your lazy husbands. That's what happens outside hanging up clothes. It's not a man's business, but it was my business today. So I had to wait for the fucking washing to fucking wash. And then I had to hang it up. Can you believe that? With pegs and shit and a rope. There's a rope out there. I did not like that at all. And then I came back inside after that. The stuff wasn't thawed out. So I was like, all right, I have to give the place a clean because it's a fucking pigsty. Someone hasn't been picking up after me the last 3.5 days. And the place looks like a fucking tornado's gone through it. So I'm like, all right, I got to fucking clean up. So I start cleaning up. So I spend like fucking 45 minutes cleaning up. And then I go back to the food. I'm like, fuck, all right, that's thawed enough. It was still frozen pretty much, but I was like, that'll do. And so I start cooking dinner, a lamb roast, and I put the lamb on. And then I'm like, all right, what do we normally have with lamb? We usually have vegetables, potatoes. I'm like, how do they normally, like, who peels them? Who cuts and peels all that shit? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not wasting my time fucking cutting and peeling a carrot. So I'm like, I'm just eating lamb straight with gravy. That's it. Fuck the vegetables. If I need some fiber, I'll have a fucking apple 3 days from now. So it's just straight roast lamb for dinner and gravy. And I was actually thinking, I was like, I'm going to save half this roast for lunch tomorrow. And then I had a taste of the roast, and it was probably the best roast lamb I've ever tasted in my entire life. I fucking kicked it out of the park. I ended up nailing the whole lamb roast to myself. It wasn't huge, but it wasn't small either. It wasn't like a tiny little roast, but I just couldn't stop eating it. That and gravy. Just a plate of fucking bachelor. And so I finished that, and then I'm like, now I've got to wash the dishes because there was fucking shit everywhere. And I'm like, someone must do this when I'm not doing it. Who the fuck does it? Because I was thinking, I was like, what am I doing on a Sunday afternoon? I go and get the groceries. I know that. I spend like 2 to 3 hours driving down doing the shopping. I drag a 35-minute job into about 3 hours. And usually when I come back, everything's like done. Like my lunches for the first 3 days of the week are like divided up into separate containers. My work shirt's hanging up. I know my wife's in the house during this period, and she's usually like grunting and sighing and slamming shit, but I'm not really paying that much attention. She must be doing something though. And so after my lamb dinner, I had to wash the dishes, and it was on that borderline where it just wasn't morally and ethically right to use the dishwasher. So I had to hand wash with my bare hands and a stick with like a scrubbing brush on the end. I had to do the dishes. Me. Boyle. And so I did the dishes and I really wasn't facing reality. I knew I had to cook some fucking shit for lunch, but in my head I was like, it should just happen by itself. I shouldn't have to really do anything. And I sat on the couch for a little while and then I was like, no, I'm going to have to do it. And so I got up and I got the frying pan that I just washed out again and cooked my own lunch. And I swear to God, like, this has not been a good 3 hours. And this is just like one day. What's going to happen the rest of the week? Like, there was 2 loads of washing. There's still one of the loads in the washing machine sitting there and it hasn't moved at all. I'm not hanging it up. I'm just going to let it sit there until it moves. So this has been a reality check, but it did take 3 hours. What would probably take the person who does it normally 45 minutes, I managed to do in 3 hours, but everything's sorted now. I've got it all under control. The next 3 days should be all right. I've got my clothes ready to go straight from work to jiu-jitsu. Where I'm working now, I'm only 12 minutes drive from my house. So I can have a little fucking sleep in. I can rock up 12 minutes later. And then it's only 3 minutes from jits. And then once I finish jits, it's just another fucking 12 minutes home. It's ideal. No more fucking $20 in tolls a day. $120 a week in fucking petrol too. This is going to be fucking sweet. Anyway, it's 12-hour days, 6 12s, 72-hour weeks from here until I leave. So that's why I got everything together, because I'm like, I'm going to have no fucking time. So I got to organize shit today. Anyway, reality check today. Reality check it was. I do appreciate my wife, but maybe I should appreciate her a little bit more. She does a lot. Anyway, fucking that'll do it for today, and I'll see you the fuck later.